Now, following communal conflicts and many other challenges confronting Nigeria, there has been a need to focus on promoting a culture of peace and non-violence that benefits all humanity, including future generations. A dramatist who is also a broadcast journalist, Ola Awakan, has now written a play titled The Madness That Cures My Land, which exposes some social misdemeanor in society based on human interaction and tolerance. One of the objectives of the play is to promote societal acceptance and respect for religious and cultural diversity, including religious expression. Joining us in our Abuja studio is the man himself, who is a dramatist and broadcast journalist, Aaron Ola Awakan. Ola, good morning and congratulations on your work.
Thank you very much. A beautiful morning to you, Veronica, in the studios, Lagos.
Now, the matter of respect, in whatever level, is a matter that we have always been speaking about in recent times, how it seems to have been eroded over the years. Talk to us how critical it is to begin to have these kinds of conversations.
Well, Veronica, thank you for that question. Basically, the discourse on religious, political, cultural tolerance cannot be overemphasized at this time in the world. They bring it down to Nigeria. Because we see what is happening, in the north and the south, in the east and the west, and it has to do with us not having that tolerance enough for one another, for us to live together. Let's go back to back in the day when we used to live in a communal society, the communal system of living that we had in Africa, in Nigeria, helped us to forge ahead as a nation, helped us to forge ahead as a society. But these days we see that conflict and violence have actually dominated the scene. And this was why the United Nations General Assembly in the year 2020, December 21st precisely, the United Arab Emirates and Egypt, they co-facilitated the bill to say the idea of celebrating International Day of Human Fraternity to further create an environment where there will be greater tolerance culturally, greater tolerance religiously, and all that. So this was facilitated in 2020, and the first commemoration of International Human Fraternity Day, International Day of Human Fraternity, was held in 2021. That's February 4th. So every February 4th, the United Nations has said that we should facilitate, we should encourage, we should raise discourse around creating a better and greater tolerance culturally and religiously, politically amongst ourselves. Because we need to live together in harmony for us to have unity and for us to have peace and forge ahead. Because if there's no peace, there's no development. If there's no tolerance, there's no development. Religious tolerance, cultural tolerance. So that's why this is essential and it's very, very important. There's no development without peace. There's no development without unity. So religious leaders, individuals, groups are now urged by the United Nations to go all out and talk to people, talk to schools. And schools, they've said that the recommendation is that schools should also preach, religious tolerance among students. And once we take it up from there, it's going to spread to the society. So the discourse around us living together as one, having this, tolerance amongst ourselves cannot be overemphasized. So that's why we're coming out to talk about it. We're using the month of February to talk to people, religious leaders, groups, to say, well, let's live together as one, so that we can stem the tide of violence, stem the tide of killings, stem the tide of all sorts of misdemeanor that is affecting us in the society.
Right, and Ola, this is, yet another feather to your cap, really, and it's also an ambitious project because, at least from my end, because you're going through, a host of schools. Tell us how you
expect, or how you want to use this approach now, using schools, using undergraduates, people not in government, how you want them to leverage on this drive to ensure mutual respect for all in the country?
Okay, Kemi, you mentioned people not in government. The society is made up of all of us, either the governed or the government. And, tolerance or living together in harmony does not have to actually come from top to bottom. It has to, it has to radiate all around, even for those who are not in government and those who are in government, those who are, every group, every facet of the society needs to start talking about it. And this commemoration that we are doing, the play I wrote, The Madness That Cures My Land, actually delves into the issue of us living together in a communal society. Us doing away with any form of man's inhumanity to man, which is actually the bone of contention when it comes to violence, when it comes to any form of violence, so to speak. It's man's inhumanity to man, either injustice, either something that is not, going well with the other person is what actually leads to violence, is what actually leads to disagreements and all that. So I'm using the play, The Madness That Cures My Land, through Artwas Communications and Just Theatre House to go to universities. And just like I said, one of the recommendations of the United Nations is that students, school managers should ensure that among students there is tolerance. We've had issues where religious intolerance is being tolerated among some schools, and that has led to killings in the past, that has led to violence in the past, and that has affected families, that has created a stigma, in some families that can never be erased, and even in societies, So it's better to catch them young. It's better to go to them and let them see. And drama is therapeutic. Drama has a functional purpose. When you watch it, and you see the consequence of somebody who actually erred in this line, and the result of it, the punishment for it, you would want to restrain, even if you have that in you, want to restrain from doing it. So gradually, this is how we intend to use drama, to use even facilitators, because we'll be moving around universities with politicians, with religious leaders, with people who are respected in the society, to actually give a talk to the audience before the play is being staged. And after the play is being staged, we're also going to get a kind of feedback from the audience to say, what have you learned from this play? So it's just a way of contributing our own quota to the development of the society via ensuring that there is greater religious tolerance and cultural tolerance, political tolerance, because really that is the best way for us to forge ahead and to ensure that there is development in the society. So we're going to schools. We are going to, for instance, we're starting with Lagos State University, LASU, on Monday, which is February the 12th. From there, we'll be going to UNILAG, we'll be going to University of Ibadan, we'll be going to my alma mater, Olabisi Onabanjo University, and so many other universities that are interested in ensuring that we work together. So we are using the window, although the commemoration is on the 4th of February, but we are using the window of February to see how we can reach out to as many as thousands of people that we can talk to, that we can use the drama to impact positively, so that they too can see the need for them to live harmoniously, to live together as one.
Right. Interesting. But then there are those who would say charity begins at home. As much as we are looking at schools to begin to have these kinds of conversation and make this part of the curriculum, how about parents who are the first persons that these people, their children, engage in the first place? How are they passing that, that kind of value down to their children? Are we also looking at the fact that parents have a role to play in this?
Yes, everybody has a role to play in this. Parents have a role to play. the government have a role to play, the students themselves have a role to play. But I want you to note that, you see, when we go to schools to talk to them, even among the students, among the audience that will be there also, some of them will be parents, because the school, the lecturers will be part of the audience that will be there. Some of the facilitators that will go with us will be part of the audience. Even those of us who we are also parents. So, and the message is not restricted to the four walls of the theater, you know, the theater space that will be doing the performance. It also cuts across, because we're going to be using the media to reach out to people. And this is just one out of many efforts put in place by individuals, by groups. You know, as some are targeting parents, some are also targeting students. We are targeting students, but that does not mean that parents do not have a role to play in this. Yes, charity begins at home, just like you rightly said. And the home happens to be the first school of every one of us. So if parents should also try to imbibe this in their children, as well, even in themselves. And we can see that playing out in our society today. We can see a Muslim father getting married to a Christian mother. For instance, I for one, I'm a typical example. My father is a Muslim, my mother is a Christian, and they've lived together in harmony, and one faith has not affected the other faith. You know, and even for us as children, we are allowed at a particular level to pick whatever faith that you choose after you have been exposed to the two faiths. Pick whichever one that you feel is good for you. And even those children, we've decided to also go our own way. Some of us are Muslims, are married to Christians. Some of us are Christians, are married to Muslims. So this is the tolerance that we are talking about that should, you know, balloon to the society, that should, you know, go further and be facilitated in the society. So away from that too, let's look at it politically. You know, political groups, there should be tolerance after the issue of maybe elections, the issue of you know, political activities. When it comes to governance, there should be, you know, political tolerance. Let's tolerate one another. Culturally, look at ethnic groups. Look at what has happened, you know, over the years in Nigeria and some other African societies. You know, the issue of ethnic differences causing problems and all that. It has to do with us not having that spirit of tolerance in us. So once we have that spirit of tolerance, it cuts across every facet of the society. And it's not a thing of the schools alone or the school management or the students or children. It's the home. It's actually the first port of call for parents to ensure that there is tolerance. And once they imbibe that in their children, wherever the children go to, you know, in the larger society, they will also, you know, do it, and that's going to have a multiplier effect in the society. So that is what we're preaching. And just like I said, drama is a tool, you know, that can be well understood once you see what has happened in the drama, and you see the repercussion of somebody who has not done it rightly. You also want to take, you know, want to imbibe that consciousness in yourself that, so let me do things rightly. You know, my next door neighbor.
Ola, can you hear me? Right. I was also.
Yes, I can.
You know,
I can.
Based on what you have said so far, you know, I just wanted to know how much, you know, this latest work reflects the fact that, you know, just like you said, yes, we've always been a communal people in Nigeria. Intermarriages, especially in the Southwest, and even if you look elsewhere, you would also see, you know, a bit of tribes intermarrying, so to speak. But then people say it's during elections that, you know, these tensions are stoked. Religious leaders are culpable. Political leaders are also, you know, culpable. How much of this is reflected in your work, and what solutions are you also proffering?
Okay, the issue of tolerance has to be an innate thing, first and foremost. You have to imbibe that consciousness within yourself that you want to tolerate your next door neighbor, either from the angle of faith or from the angle of, you know, ethnic group, the tribe of that person. It has to be an innate thing. That is number one thing. And as far as the madness that cures my land is concerned, that's the play. It's looked at actually from the family. You know, how can a father tolerate a mother? How can a mother tolerate a child? And how can that be together? And, you know, in the larger perspective, how can a family tolerate another family? And in another perspective, how can the religious, you know, faith How can a faith tolerate another faith? So all these are being put together, and the solution is the play is that let us form a because in the play there is a group, there's a communal. Let's say we used to have it as a town hall meeting. There's a communal environment where people come together, religious leaders, political leaders, they come together and they have a discourse on how they can forge ahead in the society. So having had conflicts from families, from family A, family B, family C, so there's need for them to now come together and form that communal system of resolving issues and listen to side A, listen to side B, and look at how peace can be infiltrated into the society. So this is what we're doing through drama, and it's not just that alone. We have other plays that we're doing to ensure that this, like the blind stab that we are putting up, also in Lagos and all that. So many things that we're doing this way.
So now, talk to us how much difference you see your work making in a move to ensure we have this communal living again in our society.
Yes, a lot of difference, because you see, when a play is being staged, for instance, when you affect an individual, you affect a family. When you affect a family, you affect a society. So it's actually going to have a multiplier effect. You can't quantify, the effect of the impact of drama in a society. But what you can do is to say, let the message be passed across. When you communicate, when you pass the message across, and you have a kind of mechanism to check, to evaluate the feedback from the people, you know that once one person has grabbed the message, that one person will speak to another person, that another person will speak to another person. So in totality, you have a society that is forging ahead and that is, embracing development.
And that's a fine place to leave the conversation. Ola Awakan, dramatist and broadcast journalist, wish you all the best in your endeavor.
Thank you very much, Veronica.